The 10th
Didn't get
anniversary of Rabbi Levitt, Pele, Yoetz.
Okay. All right. Oh, just a second. I have to turn off the kettle. Okay. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Rabbi Levitt.
We are up to. Oh, how do you like that? Marked it off.
Morning, Roy. Good morning, Alan.
We're up to 185, page 185.
Mhm.
And we're up to a man must always speak. After the long paragraph.
Next to last paragraph on the page, 185.
Page 185. Man should always speak. Okay, Alan, would you like to start for us?
Sure. Excuse me. A man must always speak in a decent language, and no unbecoming word should ever leave his mouth. Behold, the Torah added 8 extra letters in order to avoid mentioning an indecent word. This is written in Bereshit 7:8, and from the animal that is not kosher. Our sages, Shir Shirim, Rabbi 1:7, have already said, the mouth of a man demonstrates to others wisdom. A corrupt man speaks grotesquely, whereas a person who possesses understanding will speak clearly the wisdom of his lips.
Okay, let's take a look at this pasuk over here. This is the source for avoiding to say words that are not appropriate. But pasuk in Bereshis. See? Okay. We have Bereshis over here. Chapter 7, verse 8. Chapter 7, verse 8. Min ha-behema. Okay, so Min ha-behema ha-tahora. Umin ha-behema asher einenu tahora. Okay, so what could the pasuk have? What does the pasuk say? The animals that came into the teva, min ha-behema, they were from the animals that were tahora. Means that they were ritually pure. And you're right. Umina behema she'einenu tahora. And also from the animals that are not. So what's the point over here? What is the Torah teaching us? What other way could the Torah have said this?
We're in a bit of a bind here because if the Torah didn't want to say it, we shouldn't say it either.
Okay.
So we can't answer your question, perhaps.
Okay. Can't answer the question.
Except that the footnote in the art scroll does say.
Oh yeah, what's it say?
Says that is not clean. By using this long expression instead of the single word, I can't see, single word unclean, the Torah teaches a moral lesson. One should never utter a gross expression, for the Torah, which stresses brevity, added several extra letters to the Hebrew text of our verse to avoid saying the unseemly expression unclean, and gives a Pesachim 3a.
That's the Gemara in Pesachim 3a. Okay.
So the word
Oh, what's that? That's interesting. What's it have to do with the Gemara in Pesachim? Okay, so
I don't know if this is an editorial omission or something deliberate, but the art scroll doesn't give a number to the sentences. It gives Gimel, and after Gimel, it doesn't give any numbers to the. It doesn't number any of the sentences until Tes, until 9. I don't know. Yes, I'm not looking. Is anybody else looking at an art scroll?
I am, and I don't see what you're talking about at all. Are you looking at this one, Roy?
No.
oh, here's coming in.
Okay, take one.
Oh, you got a different book. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably editorial then.
Okay, so
All right, so Pesachim.
Pesachim.
Are we going to Pesachim?
Yes. Good morning, Mayor.
Which daf?
Gimel Amid Aleph, I believe.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the Masechta.
Okay, I'll be right back. Pesachim. You can start.
Here.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay. Something that the Gemara brings this pasuk. Mina behema hat Torah. Torah or, the third pasuk in Torah or. Shalom. So you look for the Gimel. Look for the Gimel. There we go. There it is. Okay, this is the member of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lines from the bottom of the Amud.
Bottom.
And let's just read what it says over here, the statement of Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Oh, it's actually before that. Tani Dan. My time alok Tani Lele Lishna. Lele. That's the question. Okay, so yeah, the first thing we have to do is take a look at what it says in the Mishnah on Beis Amid Aleph. It says, or la'arba asar. And you probably have a big or on your page, as is the custom of most publishers.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, you got you see the big or.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Or
looking.
la'arba asar. On the lights of the 14th, Bodkim Esa Chametz. We check for Chametz. The Ora Ner, by the light of the candle. Now, this is very interesting over here. We check for Chametz by the light of the candle, because otherwise we can't see the Chametz. We need a candle. At the same time, it says, or the Arba Asar, on the lights of the day of the 14th. Now, why does it say, is it really talking about the light of the day of the 14th that we're checking for chametz? No. When do we check for chametz? We check for chametz on the night of the 14th. The day that the 14th comes in the night. First the night comes. That's the beginning of the 14th, and so really it should have said over here, Lele Arba Asar, the night of the 14th, and then we would have known very very well what we're talking about here in this Mishnah. On the night of the 14th, we check for chametz by the light of the candle, which we wouldn't be able to see the chametz if we didn't have the candle, because it's dark already. It's already nighttime. So why does the Mishnah use the expression or over here? And we have a big or. The publisher made a big or for us over here. What would have been wrong to say Lele Arba Asar? That's the question of our Gemara. That's the question of our Gemara. Dan. It's a couple lines up from what one line up from what I told you. Tanadidan, the Tana of our Mishnah. My taima loikatani lele. Why did he not tell us accurately that we're talking about the night of the 14th? Why is he confusing us? Why is he causing us to go crazy? Says the Gemara, Lishna Malia, who the nokat. No, don't go crazy. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to get bothered and upset that the Mishnah doesn't make any sense. Of course, the Mishnah is not going to use the word lele. You should know better than that. Why? Why does the Mishnah not want to use the word lele? Because the Mishnah wants to use a word which is a nice word. Lishna Malia. Lishna Malia Nokat. So the Gemara says it's a nicer word or than the word Lila. Uka de Rebbe Yoshua ben Levi. And this goes according to the statement of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Dama Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, la'olam al yotzi adam davar maguna mipiv. In all cases, a person should not let go out from his mouth a davar maguna, a unseemly word. Shaharei. Hakam hakosiv. Shmona osios. We have a pasuk in the Chumash that was ma'akem. Ma'akem is it went in a not straight way, and used 8 extra letters. V'lo hotzi davar maguna mipiv, so that it won't let out a davar maguna mipiv. What's the davar maguna? The word tameh. The word tameh. The Gemara understands that is the word that should not be said. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk in Bereshis that we're looking up right now, mina behema hatahora, mina behema asher enenu tahora. So that's the limud. And if you'll ask the question, but 1 second, don't we use the word tameh all the time? If you'll take a look in in Seder Taharos, all the Mishnayos over there, in Kalim and Olos and all these different Masechtas, the word tameh is used numerous times. So what do we have to say about that? Is the word tameh really an improper word to use? Is the word nighttime, is it really an improper word to use? About Pesach, the pasuk itself calls it Leil Shimurim. We had it in last week's Parsha, Parshas Bo. It said Leil Shimurim hu. We use the Torah uses the word Leil. So what's going on over here? How do we understand this? So Rashi is bothered by this question over here. Rashi, I think Rashi here in the Gemara in Psachim. Asher enenu tahora. This Rashi is in the last few lines after the spread of Rashi, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines from the bottom of the Rashis. Asher enenu tahora v'lo ksiv habehema hatameya ki orche. Rashi notes that the pasuk didn't write the word tameya ki orche, like it usually does. Like it usually does. So we see that there's nothing really intrinsically wrong with the word tameya, because the Torah usually uses that word when it needs to use that word. Hooray. Shmona osios ikem. We see that the Torah made a circuitous route of using 8 extra letters over here. Asher enenu. Why don't you just say tameya instead of saying tahora? Why do you have to say asher enenu? Shemitzvah v'derek nekiyei hadas. It is a mitzvah, and it is the derech of nekiyei hadas, those whose das is naki, clean. L'saper v'lashen nekiya, to say in a lashen nekiya, in a clean lashen. And then Rashi has a comment over here about, I totally mixed up over here. Okay, I mixed up. Let's try that one again. Rashi says, Asher nenu tahor, v'lo ksiv ha-behema ha-tameya, ki orche, ha-reshmona osios ikem, but ha-taima, no. Ha-tameya, hamesh osios, hein, Asher enenu tahora, shloshesrei osios. Rashi makes us the cheshbon. If it just would have said tameya, that's 5 osios, and Asher enenu is an extra 13. Even though it does say in the Chumash, it does say tamei, tameya. Shnei orchei b'chad duchta shani, rather shani. Shani, we are learning over here. The Torah is teaching us. Orche, it's teaching us a Shnei orche b'chad duchta lamedcha lechazer aloshen nekiya. Okay, the Torah is teaching us to use lashon nekiya. Okay. So even by a word which the Torah itself uses. So I guess the emphasis is to emphasize how we should be careful. Okay, that's the source. All right. Right. So that's what he says. The mouth of a person demonstrates to others his chachma. And so the words that he uses to express himself, if he uses words that are not so appropriate, so that is that's a siman of his lack of chachma. Okay. Next, the last paragraph of page 185. We go to Lou. Is up next.
Similarly, a person should not speak ambiguously, lest someone who hears him will suspect something he did not intend. He must not rely on the listener ultimately comprehending after further analysis. Behold, the Tana in Avos warned, do not say anything that is impossible to understand from the beginning, because you think it will be understood in the end. At times, controversy and fiery flames erupt from a person speaking ambiguously, and someone else suspects an evil intention. Before he has a chance to divulge his true intention, the flame surges. Who knows if his words will be believed or not? Therefore, a person must be cautious that his lips speak clearly and leave no room for a mistaken understanding of his words or ill-founded suspicion of malice.
Oh, okay. Even when someone is trying to be entertaining, that's not an excuse for saying something which could create ill-founded suspicion of malice or any other misunderstanding of of what the Torah says, what the halacha is. There's things that are more important than being entertaining. And the more important thing is to be clear and not speak a way that people could think that you're saying something else. Okay. Okay. I was about to say, unless that itself is not simply for entertainment, but it's for purposes of teaching. But he doesn't say that. He doesn't seem to say that there's any. I can't think of a good example right now. But I can't think of a good example right now. I think I have done something like that in the past, not to mislead anybody, but just to. That's what he's saying. He's saying the person should. There's tremendous fallout from speaking ambiguously, not just that people don't understand what you mean, but they may infer something evil about what you're saying, and it could create bad feelings. It could create machlokas even, and so a person has to be very careful to be clear about his words. Okay. And a round of applause for page 185. Goes down in the book.
Very good.
185. Baruch Hashem. Okay, we're up to Roy. Likewise. Page 186, Roy.
Murray, you're muted.
That's why we can't hear him.
Oh,
I was muted and I was saying, Roy, you're muted.
everybody's afraid to say a davar maguna or something that's not something's ambiguous.
Likewise, a person must not open his mouth to the Satan unintentionally. For example, if he says, I will no longer do this thing, it is customary to add, in good health and while I'm alive. It is very necessary to stand on guard in this matter, especially when he speaks with his friend. If, Hashem forbid, an accident occurs, no one should be able to suggest that the cause lie with his words as a mistaken comment made before a king. I heard about a stage that accompanied a man who was leaving for a journey. After the traveler had departed from him a significant distance, he remembered that he wanted to instruct him in one matter, and he called him by his name. The traveler began to return towards him out of respect and to hear what he had to say. The sage wanted to call out to him, do not come back, but immediately remembered it's not good to say such a thing to a person traveling. And he said instead, please wait. In all similar situations, a wise man will listen and increase his teaching. Mishlei 1:5. Our sages, Imad Katan 27b and Yoredea Simmons 376, we have already warned us not to say to a sick person or a mourner who wants to stand for an elderly person, do not get up. Rather, he should say, do not trouble yourself, sit calmly. Diligence brings a person to caution.
Okay. Person does not open his mouth to the Satan unintentionally. Okay. Okay. All right. Last time when he was talking about opening his mouth to the Satan, he said, I thought a little bit different. He said on page 181, it's prohibited for man to reference Satan because the person should never despair of divine compassion. Let him speak good and good will come. Okay, here he's very concerned about speaking words that could be understood as being words that are not have the right connotation, and not have a good outcome. Okay. So so you don't say somebody going on a journey, you don't say do not come back. Don't come back. Because it can be interpreted as don't come back. Okay. Don't get up. Don't say that. Don't trouble yourself. Oh, so what I'm thinking of is as follows. Is it because of what he said just a minute ago that people will think that that's what you mean? Don't come back. Somebody goes on a journey and you say, and he's coming towards you because he sees that he wants you want to talk to him, and he says, don't come back. Does it really, the person really think that the sage means to tell him just leave and don't ever come back here? He mentions that this is something that is opening his mouth to the Satan. The Satan will take these words, so to speak, and do something evil with them. Is this what we have to be concerned about over here? What's it have to do with the Satan? Sounds like it has to do with the Satan, he's saying. We have to be concerned, worried about what the Satan is going to do with our words. That's what it seems like he's saying. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go further. Mayor,
Okay.
please.
It is prohibited to read or write words of Torah without reciting the Torah blessings. It is forbidden to say scriptural verses by heart if they are not commonly recited by everyone. Some authorities even question the recitation of Tehillim by heart. It is better, if necessary, to review Mishnayot or other sections from the oral law, which are well known to him, and scriptural passages, which are well known to everyone, even 100 times. It is also forbidden if a person's hands are not clean to mention any matter of relating to holiness without ritual washing.
Okay.
Is hands not clean, physically not clean, or spiritually not clean? So I don't know what that means.
Well,
Spiritually not clean.
well, I mean, in other words, if he touched a place on his body that's generally covered.
Okay. Okay. Now I understand.
He touched a
Like your armpit or something or whatever.
yeah, these are halachas that are brought in the Shulchan Aruch, and Orach Chaim, Mishnah Berurah, Siman Dalet over there, about
Oh.
washing in the morning, and then other times that you have to wash your hands because your hands are they don't have any unclean thing on them, but the hands are washed in the morning. Two reasons. One of them is because during the night they must have touched some area which is generally covered, and so therefore you have to wash your hands in the morning. Or others say because there is a certain ritual impurity that descends upon the body of a person when he sleeps, and so therefore his hands are ritually unclean, and therefore he has to wash his hands before he says a bracha, or before he davens or learns. And this is why when we say Modani, if anybody remembered saying Modani in the morning, if you did, then give yourself a round of applause for those people who said Modani this morning and did not forget to say it. And if you actually had kavanah when you said it, wow, you're a tzaddik gamor. Wow, unbelievable. But when the text of Modani does not contain not contain any Shem Hashem, and the poskim say, yeah, that's because your hands at that point are not clean. You're supposed to say Modani even before you wash your hands in the morning.
Mm.
So that's what I think this is talking about over here. If his hands are not clean, I mean, well, it depends. What type of stuff do you have on your hands over there? If you just have, dirt, or I don't know, things like that. So they're not clean, but I don't think that that would prevent you from making a bracha. Dirt is not an unclean thing that would prevent you from saying a bracha. But if you have things that are not clean, like what you have to go to the bathroom on your hands, so then you would certainly have to wash those things off before you made a bracha. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We're on the last paragraph of this page. One should not reveal. And we go back to Alan.
Alan, you're muted. It's,
Okay, back on. One should not reveal to a common person the reasons for the prohibitions, even those that are over rabbinic status, lest you come to treat them disrespectfully. Behold, the sages, Orach Chaim Simon 182 says, when a person answers our name after blessing of Omer Yerushalayim in the grace of meals, you should say it quietly in order that people will not know that the blessing of Hatov Hativ Hametiv is only a rabbinical requirement and come to mistake it. Likewise, there are several things that a man should not say in the presence of a common person, such as the Agadic narrative and similar stories. Excuse me.
Okay. Should not reveal to a common person the reasons for prohibitions.
The problem is not learned. He's not familiar with the wording.
I think what he means over here is a person who he has a concern that that if you give him the reason and he's not going to understand the reason, he's going to not only say, "Oh, I guess I just don't understand it." He'll come to think disrespectfully of the mitzvah, and so there's no point in attempting to explain to him the reasons for the prohibition.
Wow.
You know, unless you know that you're going to be able to explain it in a way to this person that he's gonna accept it, then there's no mitzvah to assist him in his quest to see the mitzvahs in a disrespectful way. Now, what's this interesting thing about the Bonei Yerushalayim in the Birkas Hamazon? First of all, what's the halacha that he's saying over here? When a person answers Amen after the blessing of Bonei Yerushalayim, he should say it quietly in order that people will not know that the blessing of Atova Meitiv is only a rabbinic requirement and come to mistreat it. Okay, let's look this up. This is going to be in Mishnah Brura. And it's going to be in Chelik Beis. Kuf Pei Ches Siman Beis. Okay, so the Shulchan Aruch says over here, after he concludes the bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Barachamo B'Yushalayim Amen. Yane Amen. He answers Amen after his own bracha. After Birkas Atzmo, after his own bracha. Mipnei, why? Why does he do that? Mipnei shehi siyum habrachos deoraisa. Because that is the siyum. That is the represents the completion of the brachos deraisa of the Birkas Hamazon. That tova meitiv eino deraisa. Because the bracha that follows, Atova Meitiv, is not deraisa. Okay. Now, let's go very quickly to the next siman, which is the siman that the Pele Yoetz is referring to. Siman Beis. Amen ze yomrenu balachash. This Amen should be said balachash. Should be said in a very low voice, like a whisper. Why? Kadei shelo yargishu shebirkas hatov hameitiv eino deraisa v'yazalzalu ba. and they come to discount it and see it as being lowly.
If everybody there is not like that, if they're all sort of learned people, can you say it then loudly? Or do you still have to say it softly?
Okay, let's see. That's a good question. Let's just see what the Ramah says over here. The Ramah says, "Venira the dafka kishemavorek levado, ve'ein onin amen achashar brochos." The Ramah himself already says over here that this, what the Shulchan Aruch is saying, to say it in a way of lachash, the amen after Boni Yerushalayim, so that there won't be those who will be mazalzel in the brach of Tova Meitif. That's dafka, that's specifically levado, when he is making the brachas himself. He's the only one who's making the birkas hamazon over here, it sounds. The ein onin amen achar shar habrachos. No. And he doesn't answer amen after any of the other brachas. Aval, a little bit confusing to me, this lashon. Let's just see it a little further. Aval, kishemazamnin onin olav kashar amen. She'onin al birkas al brachos harishonas. Yafogav dahamavorich ona gamkein mikomakom eno niker kolkach hoil ve'acherim onim gamkein imoy. V'kein aminig b'nedinas elu la'amru b'kol ram afilu hamavorich atzmo kishemazamnim laihu mahai timer. So that's just that's not going to answer your question. You want to say, well, if everybody here is not gonna, we know that everybody here is not gonna be mazalzil in the Tov HaMeitiv, that it's only the Rabbanan. So should we, in that case, should we say it properly? Should we say it properly? Is there something bidi evidence saying it balachash? We should say it bakol.
I'm
Ram?
confused.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about Birkas Hamazon, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And this bracha, B'nai Barachamav Yerushalayim, Amen. That's the one we're talking about, that after he says that, he shouldn't say it aloud, correct?
We're saying that when he says the word Amen, he says it. The Shulchan Aruch says he says it not in a loud voice.
And then it says that this is the last of the Deraisa brachas.
Yeah.
But I thought the next bracha was also Deraisa, the fourth bracha. I thought the first four brachas were Deraisa.
No. The first three are deraisa, but Tova Meitiv is derabanan. Ain't no deraisa, says the Shulchan Aruch.
So Tova Meitiv, that's the bracha that starts out with Hakel Avinu Malkeinu.
Oh, let's get a the text of the benching over here.
Yeah, that's, I appreciate, because I'm not really following the discussion here.
Okay. Okay, so. Okay, let's try this. Okay. Okay, so let's go through the benching over here. Which are we have, first of all, we start with the first bracha is Hazanas Ha'olam Kulo. And it concludes Baruch Atah Hashem Hazanas Hakol.
Okay,
That's called Birkas Hazan.
okay,
Okay. Right. Okay. The second bracha starts with No Delacha,
right,
and it concludes with Ala Arts Ve'ala Mazon. Baruch Atah Hashem Ala Arts Ve'ala Mazon.
got it.
Okay. So that's Birkas Hazan and that's Birkas Haaretz. Okay. Now we've got Rachem.
Right,
Rachem is the third bracha, and even though it's in the middle of that bracha on Shabbos and Yontif, we interrupted to say Ritzei and Yalav Yovo,
right,
but the siyum of that bracha is Uvnei Yerushalayim Kodesh B'Mheira V'Yameinu. Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Barachmo V'Yerushalayim. That's the siyum. That's the completion of the third bracha.
right, got it.
Binyan Yerushalayim. That's the third bracha. So the Gemara in brachas, the citation over here is where did I see this?
I have 45B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says here.
But the fourth blessing, the Gemara in Bracha says the fourth blessing, Hatova Meitif, which follows, was composed by Rabban Gamliel, Hazokim, in Yavne,
Mhm.
as a gratitude to Hashem for preserving the bodies of the victims of the Roman massacre in Beitar, and for being being enabled to bring them to proper burial. That's Hatova HaMeitiv.
Okay, so that's the next bracha.
That's the fourth bracha.
It ends with Al Yichasreinu.
Right. That's the end of that bracha. And we call that bracha Hatova HaMeitiv.
Okay, and that's the one that's not derisa.
Right.
Okay, I'm with you. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, I think it's time.
Oh, it's time. Okay. Very good. We'll say goodbye to Mayor.
Okay.
Tzlacha Rabbah.
Have a good day. Mayor.
And I'll say goodbye too, because we're going for our booster shot now.
Oh, I forgot my
Hey,
booster.
Tzlacha Rabbah.
Thank you. And we'll see what happens. I'll be.
You don't have to wait too long in line.
Well, we'll see.
I
We'll
forgot
see.
about my booster shot.
If it works out, I might be able to join you, but I don't think so. We'll see.